Barnett, who won the battle in fall camp, and JMU has not looked back. They feel confident in their starting quarterback. DJ Barksdale running this one out, and he makes it to the 21-yard line.
You know, I think when you look at the game the other day, defensively, you know, you can't give up early explosive plays for touchdowns. I think that put us in a really challenging situation. Offensively, of course, we did not execute well at the beginning of drives. Our drive starters, we were some self-inflicted wounds that we were not able to climb out of, and dug ourselves in a pretty deep hole. Really defensively, outside of 3 plays, the only thing that they had is some quarterback scrambles, and we were able to kind of limit their offensive efficiency for the majority of the game. But you're playing from behind when you give up those explosive plays early. And then certainly, you know, probably the most pivotal point in the game was when it was 24-10. We're driving in plus territory, get stopped on a 4th down, and then give up one more explosive play for the 3rd explosive for a touchdown. As long as we keep doing that defensively, we're going to put ourselves in a really bad situation. And then offensively, when you cannot run the ball, partly because of scheme and personnel, they made it really challenging to run the football. You know, we have to be able to limit their explosives. And so we're not playing complementary football right now. Those are things that we've got to do a much better job of, being responsive on offense when we do give up a touchdown, and then defensively managing the field position better where we don't give up explosive plays and we're not playing deep in our own territory. So some things that I don't think we're playing to the standard that we're capable of right now. I think there's a lot of good things that we're doing, but right now we seem to be our own worst enemy, and those things need to start taking steps to get fixed, to be more consistent.
Questions? The travel delays, do you think that affected the slow start at all?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I couldn't say. You know, obviously, those are not. You have a routine. You'd like to stick to your routine as best you can to build consistency in what you're doing. You know, those are certainly things that are outside of our grasp, and I would hope that our players would be able to overcome that and take care of business regardless of if we had some travel issues. But you know, for us, the way that we're structured in terms of our Friday, we don't have a lot of things on the back end of the day. We typically, even before we get on a plane, we handle our meetings and all those things here, so that we don't get too far out of rhythm when we start traveling. So, you know, the day of the game, we got behind a little bit with our police escort, and that, you know, that wasn't ideal. But again, I mean, you know, I would expect our players to be able to execute through, you know, some travel adversity.
Weird things tend to happen at ULM, especially at night. You guys know that.
Yeah.
What maybe is the reason for that, or is there any reason for it, and how do you combat those things?
Well, I think experiences, right, allow you to be better prepared the next time. And we've got some guys on our team that have gone over there before and played and been in those moments, like in 2021 that we had. I've been there twice and had really tough moments, once in 2016 and then obviously in 2021. And so my job is to kind of set the tone for how challenging an environment it is to go over and play. You know, they seem to play really well at home. They create a lot of their own energy. Their sideline does a tremendous job of creating energy, and I have seen them gain and steal momentum from teams, and really make it challenging for you to hold momentum on your sideline. So our sideline has to have great energy. We're going to do some things different in pregame than what we've done before. That I think manages some of the locker room issues that we have. You know, their locker room is really tight, challenging to kind of get the things that we normally get done in our pregame routine, and so we're going to adjust some of those things And I think all those things help. And then simply just being aware of what you're going into is a big piece of it. So for me personally, I mean, I've had two really poor experiences there as a coach, once as a coordinator and a head coach, and something that certainly I've had circled for a long time.
Anything else? ULM, just what stands out about them offensively?
I think they're doing a really good job of creating lateral space with their splits. They're going fast, but a lot of times they're going fast to check and get inside the right look. I think their quarterback is getting more comfortable with the routine of how they're trying to operate offensively. He is a bit of a gunslinger at times. I think it is starting to work more to their benefit. I think there were some things that he did that were costly early on in the season that he's starting to adjust and make some better decisions with the ball. He's dynamic in the run game, can get plays outside, and can scramble, and that's something that obviously we haven't done a good enough job of containing a scramble quarterback. And then, you know, they've got one of the most explosive players in the league offensively in Tyrone Howe on the outside, and so I think from that perspective, they're not overly complicated, but I think they're starting to really lock into what they do well offensively. Defensively, a little bit more multiple in some of the looks. Vic Koenig has had a tremendous career as a defensive coordinator, both in college football as a whole and in the Sun Belt with his time at Troy. And I think you're starting to see their players that are making more plays on the ball, becoming more opportunistic. And they present some challenges in some of the windows that they present, both in their front and moving some things around, and then also on the back end that we've got to be really smart about the decisions we make with the ball.
Jaden, I guess, got 5 this week. Just tell us about.
Yeah. You know, Jaden obviously has become a really steady presence and is starting to make plays like we know that he's capable of. To be honest, he didn't start the season off particularly well, was well aware of that, and I think he's a guy that has built consistency into his game. I think him and Colin Lacey are kind of similar in terms of how consistent they're playing right now. Both of them, they have great practice habits. They do their job. You know, they're not overly, vocal guys on the team. And yet on game day, very consistent with what they do. And so very proud of Jaden and some of the things that he's doing in terms of his just consistency in practice and those things showing up on game day.
Just so inconsistent early. Love the way the guys fought, love the way the guys came back. Excuse me, down 21, but just, way too inconsistent. Eyes in the wrong place, drops, we had some penalties. Didn't convert on a 4th down, just way too inconsistent when our defense needed us. And so we talked about complementary ball, and last week it was in the second half, this week it was in the first half. And go back and find out what are those things that we're doing individually as coaches to help them simplify the game and help them play faster.
But the potential of this team, though, I mean, we've seen flashes, you just got to put it all, what's going to happen when we put it all together?
Yeah, the guys have seen it put all together. They've seen it at times, and they know it's there because they've done it. They've done it on the road against good competition. They've done it at home. So it's about doing it for 4 quarters and doing it at the same time as the defense is doing it, the special teams and all 3 phases clicking at the same time. But it goes back to just, individual responsibility and making sure that us as coaches are putting our players in the best position possible throughout the week, simplifying the game plan for them so they can play fast.
Started to get some of the other receivers got involved more than just Colin has been for a couple of weeks. Just how big a help is that to get a guy like Burchett on that?
Yeah, Jamal, Colin, and Devin have been so consistent, and such a steady unit for us, in terms of assignment, making plays on the ball. And then as injuries have occurred, other guys have had to step up into those positions. And, the development process with guys who've been in the program for 2 years or 3 years in some cases is Devin and Colin versus guys who have just gotten here in June. It's different, but it's on-job training, and it's, step right up, next man up. And so it's our job to get them prepared and ready to go. And I thought they did a good job coming in. And 3rd and 4th quarter, it was critical situations. And guys who have been standing on the sideline most of the day were asked to come in and make plays and did.
grass is batted down. I know he does kind of throw it at a low angle sometimes. Is that just that JMU was excellent at that, or is it something he's got to execute better?
Yeah, it's a mixture. There's times where he can protect himself, you know, and get protection and get hands down by putting a body on that body. Sometimes his defender's making a good play. You know, Nine made a good play. He pushed the pocket on the pick six, and sometimes it's guys that, you know, are just pushing the pocket, making a good play. But, you know, we talk about the things that we can control. When we can go protect ourselves and send somebody to go block someone to get their hands down, we need to do that. When we can change our arm angles on certain things, we need to do that. Now, there's some that are just going to happen because that's the nature of the game. But yeah, all those things are addressed in terms of arm angles, where you can move, slide, find lanes in the pocket.
You know, disappointed about the with the explosion plays. You know, that's been something that's been our nemesis this year. Just giving up, you know, these chunk plays. You know, eye discipline's been a consistent issue. We gotta continue to work that. We got to be able to take that to the grass, you know, take it from the practice field onto the game field. I thought the kids played hard. I thought they battled back. I thought they executed for a large part of the game, but, you know, those explosion plays, you know, you can't get those back when they score, and certainly can't give up touchdowns in those, you know what I mean? And so, you know, that was the disappointing thing. Was very happy with how hard we played. We tackled much better. We executed for the most part, you know, pretty well, except for those plays. You got to be able to weather those plays.
Talk about what Monroe does offensively, especially given that quarterback put 40 on App Saturday.
Yeah, very athletic at the quarterback position. Another one of those. You know, we're going on 3 straight now where these quarterbacks are mobile type guys. He is very fast. He's pretty decisive with the football. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. I thought he did a really nice job on Saturday against App, who's been a traditionally pretty good defense in this league. So, you know, they played really well against them. They executed well. They did what they needed to do. They should have won the game.
Go ahead.
Can you talk about Jamie Sheriff and what I mean? He seemed to be very emotional, especially second half. Kind
Sure.
of brought everybody around back
Sure.
to what he's meant this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a senior, you know, he's leading by example. We've kind of challenged him to be more vocal, and I think that he's taken to that. I think he's got a definite voice in the locker room. He's got a definite voice, you know, on our side of the ball, and that type of emotional leadership is needed, and I'm proud of the way he stepped it up on Saturday.
ULM's, they got the one big receiver back, and I guess they got a couple of guys that are playing on this.
Yes.
Just at that position, what's the challenge?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tyrone Howell was probably the best receiver we faced a year ago. Had a career day against us. Had some great catches against a really good corner, and he's back, and he's their leading receiver. He plays with a lot of confidence. He's very physical at the top of the route, very strong, and really good run after catch. You know, like I said, I mean, we understand you know, how good he is. We saw it live last year. So will be a tremendous challenge for us.
Basically just, you know, we're starting out faster, of course, and just piecing everything together that we work on during the week quicker, and just staying true to our game and not try to just go out and make big plays early. Just start off, get a little momentum going for ourselves before we just try to go be Superman and this and that. And just stay true to what we be doing, basically. That's it.
Talk about the mood of the team, because at the end of the day, you don't want the loss, obviously, but everything's still in front of you.
Yes, sir. Well, we know we haven't been playing to our full potential like we supposed to, and basically we just being on each other, knowing that we can be better than what we is at the moment. So we basically just staying on each other hard and just focusing on the future and just trying to get better as we go.
You guys did, especially in the passing game, had a good second half. Is that something you're going to take going forward?
Oh yes, sir, most definitely. Just basically, like I said, stop trying to be Superman and make all the plays, and just do what the coaches draw up for us to do, and just execute it to the best of our ability.
What do you know about ULM? That's what you said.
Not too much. We just got the little report on them today, but they're a good team, so we just got to go out, play our game, and hopefully we get the job done.
We just had to go out there and just do our job defensively. We had a couple of MAs that led to points, and we eliminated them MAs, and we shut them down defensively. You know, once we did our job, they weren't able to move the ball on us.
The fact that everything's still in front of you, talk about the mood of the team in that. You still got the entire West in front of you.
The confidence is definitely still there on this team. We just have to go out there and believe it each and every week. You know, we do know that we're still in a chance to be able to compete for a Sunbelt championship. We just had to go out there and just do our job and fly around and have fun and just compete at a high level.
ULM, especially last year against you guys, they were explosive in the passing game. Just what do you see from them this year when you watch them?
I do believe I see that they're a more running team this year than they were last year. They're leading the Sunbelt right now in rushing, so that's a big deal to us up front. We know that their goal is coming in is going to be to run the ball. So up front, we have a challenge ahead of us. So we just had to go out there and stop the run this week.